Good morning, everyone. Happy Monday. I cannot believe that we are at the end of March. Welcome, and my name is Leslie. Today we're going to do a dollar store craft, and it's a simple one. It doesn't take long, but it has beautiful results. So what I am using is the Connects, I believe it said, Birdhouse. And guys, I honestly got this from the dollar store, okay? And then what I did was first I assembled it just to be sure that it all fit together because I'll be honest, I got it from the dollar store, right? So I wanted to be sure that what I was using, oops, sorry guys, was going to fit all together and didn't need any little adjustment, let's say. So I'll bring you down to the table because I did some of the steps already just to move things along because you don't need to watch the same old over and over again, okay? So let's go down to the table. And here at the table, I have my pieces. Now, I did my side pieces, my front and my back with the acrylic Craft Smart um, in apple tart. So, of course, you need a paintbrush. So, there we go. They're all done. And I'll show you something. This is one coat, and it looks kind of rough. This is the second coat. I prefer the second coat to the one coat, so we will be doing another coat on that. I will set that aside. Now, what I did that is a little different is I used Mod Podge and craft paper. Now, this paper is from the Chic collection, Majestic Breeze. And I just love it. And this is my roof. Now, if I was putting this outside, I would not be quite so inclined to use the paper. But we will discuss how I did that and a tip for it. First, I want to get this repainted so that I don't have to worry that it needs time to dry. Okay, so let's get this repainted. I really hope that you guys are having a great day and that your weekend went well. Um, I got a little surprise this weekend, and by little, I don't mean a big fancy one, but on Wednesday, I will be receiving a small mini 3D printer. It's not a big fancy one, guys. It's just a mini. It's a step into the 3D world. Excuse me. And I'm going to give it a try, of course. I didn't want to jump in too too much because I'm not sure it's for me. And this one is very much a beginner one. And in fact, the big um, sell on it is that it is exactly that. Like you don't have to know any of the fancy things to do your projects. So if I am really interested, I will learn the fancy things and go fancier. But for now, this little one that I am getting should do me great. So Friday, all things being delivered on time, I should be able to give you a peek at the 3D printer. We will see. So there we go. I've, whoops, made my second coat. I see a spot that I missed there, but I've got just enough left here to cover it. There we go. And now I'm going to set this aside. And set this aside. Okay, and I'm going to take just a moment here and clean up my paint. I do not want it to end up on my paper. So there we go, paint all clean, and I have to open my Mod Podge. Now this one is satin, okay? Now I am putting it or leaving it in the house. So the deal with that is that I don't necessarily have to Mod Podge it again, okay? But I'm going to help it stay down on anywhere where I may have been a little light on the Mod Podge. And I will explain that statement in just a moment. So basically, if you were to look this up, it is like doing decoupage, I think they call it, with Mod Podge, okay? And like everything, everybody has their ways, but I found this one and it worked well for me, and I've been using it a long time. However, whoops, sorry guys, I'll get that out of there. There we go. Sorry about that. The tip that I found, I did not exactly know before. So the tip is, if you're putting, so you put your first layer of Mod Podge down, okay? And then you go to put your paper on top, but you notice some bubbles, some wrinkles. The way to avoid that is before you put your paper on top, get it damp. And by damp, I mean just a little wet. Like just take a mister and basically do that. Just mist it a little wee bit, take a wipe on the back of it, whatever you like, then lay it down and smooth it, and you will get no bubbles. So then I let it dry, and I took my sanding block and I went ahead and I sand any excess paper off of the sides. So far, what is my bill? Well, my bill is one sanding block, dollar store. One Birdhouse, dollar store. Paper, some that I had in my craft room, but you can get it at the dollar store, okay? Paint, dollar store. X-Acto knife, my husband buys them in bulk. And of course, Mod Podge, which you can buy it or you can, I am told. Haven't tried it, make it. I prefer just to buy a bit of it. And now I am just going to take a paintbrush and I'm going to go lightly over my paper. Before doing this, before I started this morning's video, I went ahead and just wiped this down so that there was nothing on it for the Mod Podge to seal in, okay? Because I do have a dog and a cat. And while my cat does not come down to the art studio because his favorite thing is to eat sequins and glitter, my dog certainly does. So, as with everything, there is donations of hair, right? So there we go. Just enough Mod Podge to seal it. Okay. Oops, there's a little clump there. We'll get rid of that. There we go. I like to go back over it and smooth it out. Some people use the, what am I trying to think of, foam brushes. And I do have some. I just prefer this. I don't know why. I do not know why it is what I prefer, but it is. Oh, I have a little spot here that is lifting. I could reheat it with my mini iron, or I can just tuck some Mod Podge behind the paper, like so, and just hold it down with my finger for a couple of seconds. 1, 2, 3. And then what I will do is set it aside, but I will set it upside down and put some weight on it to help seal it for just a minute. Not for very long at all. I don't want it to stick to my surface. So there we go, already good. I do have one bubble. So there we go. That is okay. There we go. Now for this one, I think I will do the exact same process. But I will make sure to get the sides really well first, so that I don't have any lifting issues. There we go. It's just all about the time and the patience. And if you've never used Mod Podge before, it does have a slight odor, but it's not strong. It's just, you know, you're using a glue. Okay, but in this case, we're using it as a sealer, which works awesome. There we go. So tip number 1, spray your paper to avoid bubbles, or wipe it very lightly with a wipe. Tip number 2, and I should have followed it on the other piece, go around your edges with the Mod Podge first so that it helps to seal them. Now we're going to set that aside to dry, and we are going to come back to these pieces, which are now dry. Just as quick as that. I'm going to take a second and grab my hammer, which I forgot to tell you about. I do like to have a hammer on hand when I am building these, only because it makes it so easy to tap our sides in. Oops, this one is the floor. So here we go. Oh, don't do what I just did. Okay? Make sure that you're turning it. And there we go, just like that. You are not hurting it to use the hammer. I maybe should have put the side on first. We will see. Nope. I am good. So I'm just tapping it in. Look at me go. I am just tapping it in like so. Don't worry about perfect alignment. I'm going to paint my edges once it's together, because when you put the top on, it will bring it into alignment. Okay? Just worry about making sure that your paint is on the outside. Speaking of outside, if I was going to put this outdoors at any point, I would go ahead and I would simply put the sealer on it. I would find maybe the Krylon spray-on sealer, something that protects wood. You could use polyacrylic, which I really do like for getting things together. You could use the crayon spray. I think, but don't quote me on this, that there is an outdoor type of Mod Podge that you could use. I would have to check into it. I am a big fan of the spray-on sealers, so that is what I use. But many different choices there. So leaving it inside, I wouldn't worry too much about spraying it. Putting it outside, I would definitely spray both the in and outside to seal it. This part here is the trickiest part, okay? But you can get it together, don't worry. It's not as bad as I'm making it look. Okay, guys, I just took a second and I gave a little sand to one spot and it slipped right back on. Like I said, I will be painting those in. But there we go. I can paint those in while I wait for, excuse me, the Mod Podge to finish drying, which won't take much longer at all, but it gives me a chance to paint those in. If you wanted to, you could get fancy and paint them a different color. You could put vinyl or turn them into like a stick looking situation. It does not have to be repainted the green. But this is the way that I want to do it. So here we go. Now, also if you wanted to change things up a bit and you have access to stencils, you could stencil on your birdhouse. That would be so cute. You could stencil whatever you want onto it, okay? The choice is, as always, yours. But for me, for the sake of the length of this video, I am going to choose just to go ahead and leave it the way it is. If you would like to see stenciling on it at some point, please go ahead and leave me a request and I will certainly do another video featuring this birdhouse and stenciling, okay? So there we go. By stenciling, my method of stenciling it would be to take this, tip it to its top, put a stencil there, tip it to its side. I would use a chalk stencil and chalk paste. That is me. That does not have to be you. You could use a normal stencil. You could go freehand. That would definitely make it interesting. Now, on here, you can see that I have the holes to fit over here. I left the paper on them by choice. I will admit, the first time I did a layer, I took the paper off. And let me tell you, I didn't like it. Whoops. I did not like it when I took the paper off. So doing that again, so I recovered it just with leaving those holes covered in the paper. And for me, that did the trick. Let me double check myself here, just to be sure that I am getting this on the right way. Yes. Oops. Now, I do have a bubble on this one. So there is a way to solve that. I will turn on my little mini iron. And while it heats up, I will mount the top of my birdhouse. It will take a bit of finagling only because you can't see the holes, okay? But it will be fine. I'm just going to fit it, whoops, like this. This will make it so much easier just to slide that in to place, and then take my hammer, give a little tap here and there and everywhere. This side is being stubborn, so here we, oh! See, sometimes once you've added things like paper and glue, it changes things a little, but we will deal with that in a moment. Right now, my iron is warm, and before I smooth out my Mod Podge to take away the bubble, I put this on. Okay? Let me get rid of, whoops, this paint. What am I using? I am using my little mini press. You could use a bigger press if you had one. You could use an iron. But this little guy, and they do have little ones at Walmart, both this brand and others. But this little guy works great, and so use what I have on hand, right? So there we go, and this will help to smooth out those bubbles. And now, there we go. I will just simply sit here and hold it while it cools down for a moment. And then we'll put the top on and have a look at our finished project. For a dollar store project, it's awesome, okay? You could drill a hole and put a piece of dowel underneath the opening so your bird has a stick to sit on. You could mount a bird on your dowel. You can take this any direction you want to, okay? Now, I saw a neat idea where the woman recut this. My skills are not there yet. With her laser cutter in clear acrylic, and she put it outside in a very well shaded area, and you could see the birds inside. You could watch the babies, and I thought that was just the best idea ever. Okay, so now we just fit it over our pieces. This last piece is always going to be your hardest. Okay, so just maintain your patience. Oh, this is the piece that had the little bubble, and since we ironed, the bubble is gone. Just make sure after you iron to hold it just for a moment while it cools off so that the bubble has a chance to secure, and you're great. Okay, guys, so what I did to get this piece on was I had to squeeze my side pieces together. Just a tad, not too much, just a little bit. So it was easiest to lay it down. And now the trick is to lay it down over here so that you have a bit of an edge to work with, and switch that around because I had it the wrong way. There is on the back a thin side and a longer side, or a short side and a long side. Sorry guys, you want the long side to be towards the bottom and the short side to be towards the top. Okay, so let me have a look at this. Short side to the top, and that way it fits perfectly into place. And I just turn it over, and the last piece, guys. And of course, it's going to be the most difficult to get on, but let's do it. Excuse me. Okay, guys, so I stopped to have a drink, take a cough drop, and I got the top onto one side. Now, I have to confess that when I put the original piece on, I may have, by accident, gone ahead and put the long part to the top. So I had to switch it around, and as soon as I did, it clicked right into place. Now here's where another choice comes in. You can take a spare piece of your paper. You can cut it to fit here, and you can you could Mod Podge it on so that it all matches. But what I am going to do is I am going to go ahead, grab a detailed paintbrush like this one, a nice small one, and just go along and give it some paint. Okay. And then to help kind of blend it, I'll just use my finger. So the hardest part of all of this was getting the roof on, and that was, of course, as I said, user error. Okay. So be sure to give this a try. I promise you, it's not hard to do. You know what this would be great for? The kids are on March break here. This would be great to do with some kids that you're babysitting, or your own kids, your grandkids. This is a great, great project. Alrighty. So we may come back yet and decorate this, but for now, this is the dollar store birdhouse. And you can see it's actually a really good size. It's very sturdy, very well put together. Now, I want to once again go over. I am leaving this in the house, so I chose not to seal the outside. I only sealed the roof to help hold the paper down. If you put your paper down and it's dry and you do get some bubbles, a quick little iron will help to reactivate the Mod Podge and remove the bubbles. Just make sure that you're holding your paper at the time so that the bubbles have a chance to seal themselves, or the paper has a chance to seal itself and the bubbles have a chance to dissipate. What else do you need to know? Put it together first. I've had a couple of kits, different things, where I've had to give a little sand to a piece because it wasn't cut perfectly. And so I couldn't fit it between, like, into the little slots, the grooves. And so I just took some sandpaper, give it a quick sand, fits perfectly. Nothing wrong with this. $1.25, $1.75, I think they are now. Little birdhouse, nice and sturdy, made from MDF. So it will hold up for a while outside too, as long as you seal it. And by seal it, if you're putting it outside for use for tiny birds, I mean seal it inside and out. I hope you enjoyed today's quick little project. I know I had fun. And I got a cute little project to which we may add some embellishments later. Take care, guys, and we'll talk again soon. Bye.